meeting of the 7-Eleven committee for the disposition of the Marshall School site. It is January 28th. It is 4:07 p.m. And the committee is getting together to continue the work of doing a draft report and preparing for the next community meeting. Excuse me. I would like to, where is it? There it is. Do a quick roll call. Therese Gaines.
Here.
Sharon Coco.
Here.
Liz Fisher. Did I say Fisher? Yes, I did. Felix Lechner.
Here, thank you.
Jeff Downing.
Here.
Noli Del Rosario.
Here.
Karina San Diego.
Here.
Kathy Lang Newman.
Here.
And Kelly Lynch McMahon is here. And our wonderful Luis Zamora is taking our live stream video for us. Next, I would like someone to have a motion to approve the previous meeting minutes.
I'll move.
Is there a second? All right, Noli is seconded. So the meeting minutes from the previous meeting are approved. You guys should be proud of me. I got them out early this time.
I didn't receive them.
Oh, you didn't?
I mean, when you say early, when did you send them, like last week?
Wasn't
or-
it like Monday or Tuesday we sent them, Sharon? I thought it definitely wasn't just today, but I know
No, it wasn't today. I sent a
earlier.
reminder today.
Yeah. So
Yeah, it wasn't included in today's reminder. That's why I.
actually it was at the very bottom. It should you
Mhm.
should have got it at the very bottom of the message. There should be
Right.
2 or 3 attachments.
3 attachments, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, all I'm seeing as an attachment is just the agenda for today.
No, there should have been the agenda, the minutes, and I believe the
Oh,
presentation that we had presented.
okay, yeah. Here it is. Okay, the one that came from you. I was looking at the one that came from Sharon.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
So, now on to item number 4, review the draft template and the progress that we've made so far. So I see you guys have been busy because I always get these little notes that somebody's been working on the template. So you guys have all been pretty busy contributing. So I'm excited to see what we've come up with. Draft report. There it is. We'll pull it up. And let's
Are
see.
you gonna share it on this?
I am. I was just taking a second to pull it up so that I could make sure that I got you guys the right one. And here it is. Can everybody see that? It should be the logo, and the side should have notes that everybody's been kind of adding and subtracting. So this is the cover page, and it looks like Therese did some corrections.
Yeah, I just thought it needed some more punch, so I kind of moved things around.
Oh yeah, that sounds a lot better. Yeah. So we'll put our date in. Then here's the second page. So I think we'll go ahead and insert like a table of contents here once we kind of get the body of the document together.
Mhm.
And here,
The other things I did were mostly little grammatical things. And
okay. Did anybody have anything else they wanted to add to the executive summary?
Oh,
well, I wanted to take out the recommendation part from there, since we have a whole section at the end.
I agree. I think the executive summary should pretty much just mimic the kind of like our statutory requirements and the goal of the committee.
Right. And then I also, the only other big thing that I commented on was a statement that said that we were focusing first on Marshall because that's the most urgent to resolve, but that we would have further recommendations in the future.
Okay. Okay.
Kelly?
Yes.
Okay,
I can't see anybody, so you guys just have to speak up.
oh, that's right, because you have the screen sharing on.
Yeah.
Okay, I remember Anne telling us in one of our meetings that she attended that we were to focus only on the Marshall site, which we, of course, have done after our initial confusion of trying to prioritize which sites to address. I'm not sure if it's being presumptuous that the board will want to continue to use this committee for future site disposition, because that hasn't actually been decided yet. But are we maintaining our committee in the event of? Is that the direction?
That would be a question that I can pose to them, but I do not want to be presumptuous and speak
Right.
for them. But logic would have it that that would be the case,
Yes.
but let's get confirmation and verification before I say that.
Thank you, Liz, for remembering that. I remembered it yesterday and I thought, okay, I have to remember to bring it up, but it was made very clear by Trustee Crosby what the board's direction was, and it was only for the Marshall site. So I'm guessing, and it's just a guess, that when this goes to the board, perhaps at that time or at a later date, they would give further direction, but all they're wanting to see is this, and that we've not done what they asked us not to do.
Mhm.
Okay, and
So maybe my statement in here should be that there may be future.
correct, correct.
I don't even know for this case if we need to mention the future.
I don't
We
think
need to-
we should. I think we
We should
should,
focus on Marshall, and specifically, that's the only thing mentioned in this report.
right, and then wait for them to give further direction to staff to either keep the committee and have them do A, B, or C.
Mhm.
Okay. I'll hear it.
I have a quick language question.
Mhm.
As somebody from Germany, in the executive summary, it says to formulate a committee. Is that form a committee, or is that presumably you all have educational experience, so I don't want to argue.
So can you tell me where that is, Felix?
In the very first well,
Oh, here it is, to form a committee.
You can do form, that works just fine.
Yep. I have a question because this was some unfinished business from our last meeting when we were trying to insert perhaps a table of our members and how we fulfill ed code by our composition. There was a question about how administrators are being represented on our committee. Was that resolved?
Yes, it was. So I am your administrator. I didn't
Oh,
realize I didn't realize I was part of the administrative team. So
Okay.
yeah, I was like, oh, I'm just a minion. They're like, no, Kelly, you're an administrator. I'm like, oh, okay.
So now we can clarify that you are a part of this committee.
Yes, yes. Let's see, question. I'm just writing this down, guys.
And as a committee, should we be determining who the chair, a vice chair, and a secretary might be on our committee?
I guess you guys can. I don't think we ever decided how formal we were going to do
Yeah,
this.
I don't
particular
either.
one.
I think for the case of this, at the point that we're at in the report, it's not necessary.
Yeah,
Okay.
We're wrapping it up at this point, getting the report. We've got one community forum, and then we're making a board presentation. So the report has to be completed, I think, within the next 2 weeks. Is
Yes.
that right, Kelly? So that
Yes.
it's ready for
Yes.
board. So
yeah.
if this was a standing committee, yes.
Yeah, right. I did, Kelly, is it okay if I share about the banners?
Sure, please do.
Okay. I just wanted to update everyone that, Kelly asked me to get some banners made to hang on the fence at the Marshall site that, notified the community of the meeting on the 4th. Told them to pre-register and had the link placed on it, gave them the date and the time, and that it was for regarding the disposition of the Marshall site. So I picked them up yesterday morning, and Tom Ekman met me at Marshall, and we hung one on the entrance gate on Curtis, and then we went to the other side of the school field where it faces the other housing development,
Mm-hmm.
and we put one there.
Oh, great.
So they
Everybody-
were, I wish I would have taken a picture. I'm sorry I didn't. It was raining and we were trying to get them up and tight, and the wind was blowing and everything else. But they're a royal blue background. They have the FUSD logo, and the lettering is white. So it really stands out. It's not anything you have to strain to look at. And while we were there doing that, on the residential side, there are people that jog and walk. That I had no idea that was as big a complex as it was. So I'm hoping that that will satisfy the question about, you know, making the community aware. It's just another way for us to do that. So, and Tom's going to go check on it every few days to make sure it's still adhered.
Well, did you guys tying it off with like zip ties or something?
Yeah, he brought some real heavy duty zip ties, and one of the guys in maintenance gave him a tool that ratchets it really tight and cuts it
Oh,
up at
wow.
the same time. So they should stay even through
Okay.
this wind and rain.
Okay, good.
So I just
Very,
wanted
very
to tell
good.
everybody that that was done.
Thank you so much
Sharon?
for taking care of that.
Yeah.
Sharon, can I ask a related question? I wasn't going to bring this up, but in the past, I think I have a little bit of an incomplete understanding of the notification requirements. And I was more familiar with, like, planning commission things from the city. Is there a way that somebody, maybe Karina, could briefly explain in general what the notification procedures are, and perhaps, if it's available, how many people were notified in total? Because I spoke of hundreds, and I'm not sure that's actually the case. Is like the people that are enrolled in the school that live there, or enrolled in FUSD? Is there some kind of a simple way to describe that?
Felix, are you asking about the notification requirements for these community forums?
Yeah, I mean, I spoke in like grand terms like 2 meetings ago, that there were hundreds of notifications mailed out. I'm not sure that's actually required for stuff like this. And it shouldn't be, because, obviously FUSD owns the site and they should be able to do with it as they please as owner. I'm just asking, I want to make sure I don't have a gross misunderstanding of how this whole thing is happening.
No, actually, Felix, it was sent out to hundreds of residents. So the Marshall resides within the Kennedy attendance area, right? If I remember correctly.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So Kennedy we have Bright Arrow, which is an automatic dialer that the district has every single student's household that's registered in, district-wide is part of that. And it goes out specifically to the attendance area. Then the school sites that reside within the attendance area, the principals were given a notice to also put in their weekly distribution to parents for students that are enrolled at the elementary schools locally. And then it's posted on the district's website. I believe that we posted a notice in I don't remember the name of the newspaper, but Brian Kilgore, our information officer, would be able to tell us exactly which publication he distributed it to. And then we also talked about it and put it in our presentations that we've been doing for the Measure E update. Just say, hey, just to notice, let you guys know. So it's been out there. And unfortunately, we are not able to do like mass mailings of like note cards and stuff like that because I thought that we had that capability, but the staff person who used to do that for us is no longer available. And I was not given permission to spend dollars on that because of the current state of our budget. So the superintendent and the budget director advised me that, you know, our money is better spent using the other means of communication rather than, you know, spending $600 on note cards to be stuck in somebody's mailbox. So that's how we notified the public of this particular meeting. So
And I
Thank you.
think Brian put it on our social media platforms.
thank you. That's right. I knew there was one other, yeah, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, and what's the other one? Instagram. So we got quite a bit of coverage, but I don't know. He's the one that has to tell us what the yield was on those outreach efforts because he tracks all that stuff.
Thank you, Kelly. That totally answers my question, and I have full confidence that this was done right. And if anybody has any doubt, I'd like to point out that the school site has been closed for a number of years and hasn't been an FUSD site anyway. So I think that nobody would really have a reasonable expectation that, you know, it's not like an operating school that would be sold, you know, that's not available anymore. So
Sure.
I see Jeff's hand up, but then after Jeff, I have something to add.
So I just wanted to confirm, I've seen it on social media. Brian has posted it there, but I live in the Kennedy attendance area. I have received no notification except for the day of one of these forums. So I don't know how much notice we're given, but I haven't seen anything.
I will have to circle back with him because I'm just regurgitating what he told me, but
Right.
I will verify and make sure that that does happen
So
this
I'm
time around.
just letting you know that I've gotten the notifications the day of.
Uh-huh.
But like I have two students that are at Kennedy. My wife is a teacher at Millard, which is in that
Right.
area.
Right.
And outside of social media, I honestly would not know that there was a meeting coming up
Okay.
until the day of. So
We're going to have to verify with him when he's going to do the Bright Arrow message.
Yeah.
Because
I will-
that should be done minimally tomorrow and then again next week.
right, and I get the
Okay.
Kennedy Bright Arrows. They are
Yeah.
Bright Arrow fans.
Right,
I get it for everything, especially the turn of the semester. But
right. But I think that we should ask him to please do two. One tomorrow, which is just less than a week away, but,
Yeah. No, I agree.
okay.
I'm kind of disappointed that that hasn't happened, but you know, we'll figure it out and make it.
Yeah. We'll make
make it-
sure.
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
So, Kelly, I was going to add that, you know, just the minimum legal requirement, because this is identified as a community hearing, the least the committee would have had to do was however the district typically notifies the public for its hearings. And Kelly, as you know, and Therese too, and Sharon of course too, but there are certain processes that require by statute additional newspaper publications and such, but when there's no guidance in the statutes, I think as you noted, Kelly, if you did the paper and you did the district office posting, which is, you know, usually how you notify the public of a hearing, that's the minimum. I think it's great that you're doing more than that to show everyone that we really wanted to reach out to the community, and especially because it's a closed school. So.
Mhm. Okay. So I just want to make sure you just reminded us of the minimum legal requirements have been met per statute.
Kelly, I went ahead and put you in as a member of our committee on that list. And I tried to fill in the categories for people that I know. Therese and Sharon, I know you're not currently administrators, but I put you as an E asterisk only because you have the special designation of being former administrators. Do you think that that's fair, or would you be put in as community members? Landowner?
Sharon,
When I applied, I did not apply as an administrator or former administrator. I applied as a, I think the category that best fit it was landowner, renter, whatever that category was.
And what about for those of us who had children in FUSD, but maybe they are somewhat recent graduates? Does that make me a parent, or am I just at this point considered a committee?
It should be current status.
I was going to say should be current, yes, that you currently have.
Mhm.
Okay.
So Liz, I listed myself as landowner and former director.
Oh, there you go. I think I might have put retired something, but I don't recall.
Okay.
Pardon me, the website has the category for each member.
Oh, cool.
I want to ask the group for some guidance since we're talking about categories.
Mhm.
There's a category, for example, for ethnic age group. I'm from the Philippines. Can I qualify under A also?
Yep.
Also, on item B, it shows business community such as owner, manager, supervisor. I work for a engineering and construction management firm. I'm a senior associate. I'm a manager and supervisor. Will that qualify me for that also? And then for C, I'm not a landowner. I don't, but I do own a couple of properties, one in Fremont and one in Union City. Will that qualify me for that also?
So under that one, are you a renter?
And no, I am a homeowner.
So landowner
Well,
would be
that's a
considered.
landowner, would be a homeowner.
Okay, all right. So that will qualify me for both,
So
For-
you're
for three
A,
more.
B, and C.
Yeah. All right, I will update mine. Thank you, guys.
I just updated it.
Oh, all right. Thank you, Liz.
And Noli?
Yeah.
Oh,
That was really,
I didn't put it in the right spot. I'm sorry.
Oh, I have F and G already there.
Yeah.
If you can add me for A, B, and C also.
Okay.
all of the above except for C and D and E.
All right, okay.
That's funny.
You know,
So-
we don't have a whole lot of A's, but A is a pretty broad category, not only including, ethnic,
Yeah.
age, and also socioeconomic composition. I mean, maybe some of us who are more senior might include A only just because.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
I'll meet your category for senior. Trust me.
That's funny.
I'm just trying to look in the statute, but I can do that later. So committee membership is here, then see meeting information. Are there any additional changes here? Excuse me.
do we want to delete as its first priority? Because we've just kind of discussed that
Right,
we may not be doing anything further. So
right.
I think delete that.
Yep.
Okay. Got it.
Felix, I think I'm going to give you G because of your professional expertise.
I just had my cursor there, but if you want to do it, would you like the categories from the ones that the district picked when they presented the composition to the board, or would you like the ones that truly apply?
Well, if we're missing some of their designations, we should certainly add them in, but I think we can be forthright in indicating how other ways we may meet the diversity criteria.
I think that I'm B on the district's list. I'm B, F, and G.
Okay. Am I just C then?
I'm sorry?
For me, I'm probably just listed as C, being a landowner.
I'll look. Hang on.
I believe
Where
that
are
You're just a
I-
landowner.
I believe I'm all the categories that Noli is including a landowner and being aged. Very aged. Getting more so by the moment.
I know.
where are the categories that you're looking at?
Just above where the names are listed, Therese, just above, there's like A through G.
Oh,
I just put it on the screen.
I'm just wondering if there's any more A's in our group.
Well, what constitutes the A? I mean, what are you looking for?
Well, there is the age component. There could be a socioeconomic component, but I don't think we're gonna be whipping out our 990s or anything.
No.
I'm feeling like we're kind of getting stuck in
Okay,
in
all right, we can move.
semantics on this one. It can kind of be assumed in some ways.
Yeah,
So I think the other categories are probably the most important, and then we should kind of move on to the next thing.
okay.
Yeah, I think all of you at some point are representative of all of these categories.
Mhm.
So
I
I
was
don't,
just going to say that, Kelly. I would think presumably you all meet A because it's supposed to be a collection of everyone, you know, composition of the district wide.
yeah, so I think we've hit all of our targets. And everybody has multiple categories that they have the ability to classify in.
Mhm.
And I think the main intent is that we at least at minimum meet one of each one of those categories. Even if, say, if we had only 7 people, then one person representative of each one, but we have
Mhm.
7 who are representative of many aspects of A through G, so I think we're good.
Yeah.
Okay, so is it okay for us to move on?
Mhm.
Okay, so here's the meeting information. Was there any additional stuff we wanted to put in? Okay.
I have a brief question with respect to the public meeting, Kelly.
Mhm.
I was just wondering, the coordination with the union happened. Why?
I'm not sure I understand your question. The coordination with the
Was
union?
it when you presented a couple of dates 3 meetings ago?
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Sherry, can
reached
you
out,
explain?
yes. In our district, there are certain days that are set aside and designated for specific groups. The teachers union, the day set aside for their meetings during the week is Thursday. in looking at the calendar of folks who needed to be involved, including the superintendent, we were trying to find a date that didn't conflict with other meetings taking place during those 2 weeks, which was this week and next week. There was nothing this week that we could set up and feel like we had given enough time and enough notice to the community. So I reached out to next week, and the only date that was open, there's meetings in the evening on the 3rd. There's a meeting on the 2nd. And typically we don't do them on Fridays because you really don't get an audience. So I had to reach out to the president of the teachers union and very graciously ask if it would be possible for us to hold a meeting that evening at 7:30 in hopes that it wouldn't conflict with something they were doing. And she wrote back and
So
she
this is
said,
not-
yes, we could.
So that's not an indicator that like a lot of union folks are going to show up or something like that. It was just a
Oh,
touch.
no. It's a courtesy to the organization because that date is set aside for them to call whatever meetings they deem necessary, and they could be in the evening, and therefore we can't conflict.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure if I had to brace myself for a contentious meeting.
I hope not. I don't think so.
Okay. Let's see.
Cool.
For this document where, we have the different parts itemized 1 through 8, I think. At the end, item 7, it's the committee's report. And then item 8 is the committee's findings. I think those are somewhat redundant.
Yeah, I think we decided we would eliminate one of them, but I don't recall which one it was.
I think we should eliminate 7 and then renumerate thereafter.
Sure.
Yeah, I think we all agree.
Yeah.
And when I've looked at the templates of the other districts, they oftentimes provided their reasons or their findings in either a bulleted, list of things. And I don't know, you can see I've added like 4 points that I thought were pertinent. First and foremost, the use of the site and our and non-use as it may be, and the declining enrollment in our district. If you look to the right there, Kelly, I don't know if that's too much information, but item 1,
This one?
yeah, if you read it there, and I can read it to those who are, you can't see it well.
Eyes don't work as well.
Yeah, the Marshall site was closed in 2000 and leased from 2004 to 2018. Students have been attending neighboring schools such as Azaveda, Blakeow, and Millard, which are all within a mile radius of the site. Despite enrollment growth during that time, the school district is now beginning to experience enrollment decline, and demography reports show that this is a continuing trend into the future. So,
I think that's too much.
too much to
That's
say?
my personal opinion.
Yeah.
Well, I
I think the big thing is the Marshall School has not been operated by the Fremont School
Right.
District, the Fremont School since 2004.
Right.
right.
But that's not a
That's
fact.
perfect.
That's not a finding. That's a fact that precludes it. So
Well,
the
So I
committee
say we
isn't
just
finding
use
that.
this part. This could be like the first reason. We could put that there. Right, so then it was closed. So here's our reason number 1, the Marshall site was closed.
it was closed and not even needed while we were experiencing growth, at that time. I mean, it precludes the current situation, but it almost begs the question, we maybe didn't even need it, over 10 years ago, except that it brought in revenue for the school district at the time, from 2004 to 2018. So, I do think it's germane, to bring up.
But it's not, the committee's not finding that. That
No.
is a background issue, but I'm not gonna, never mind.
Yeah.
It's- In the interest of moving along, I will be silent on this one.
I like that. I actually think it could be even 2 points, because I think that it could simply say that the Marshall site was closed as an FUSD site in 2000, and then from 2004 to 2018, it was leased to someone else. It doesn't quite sure who leases it. Leasing is kind of a weird word because it can go both ways, right? It was leased as a second point to we could maybe even write to, I don't know, to some operator with a super regional draw, so it didn't fill a hole in that community. It didn't really do anything for the people that live there.
Well, that's why the site wasn't needed during the past 3 years for additional enrollment needs of the district, so. But you guys can figure it out.
But it was going to be utilized. It was assigned as a school to house how many students for the Spanish dual immersion program?
And
It
that's
was all close to 400.
Right.
right.
So it was going to house those students.
So here's this one. There we go. Let's take this. Okay.
We haven't mentioned the declining enrollment, and actually today there was an update in our not today, but recently, an updated demographic report, and the district is looking at a cumulative 10% decline in the next 7 years.
They're just not having babies anymore.
That's right. But we'll see what happens after COVID. It could be
Right.
a
Yeah.
That's so
And
funny.
there's a lot of babies that have been born that you don't know about.
Well, I just think of World War II and how we had the baby boomers come as a result of the subsequent prosperity and such. So,
But I will point out, if you listen to what's happening in Silicon Valley, people, they're moving businesses out. So, that becomes speculative. Are we going to grow? Or are we not going
Right.
to grow? Right
And
now, there's a finding that there's going to be an X% decline over the next couple of years.
But who knows after that?
Yeah.
The big issue has to be with housing cost and the ability of a family to afford to live here.
Yes.
And so that continues to be an issue. I don't know. I'm seeing everything that we're putting down here, and I'm wondering if we just need to be a little bit more specific of this site.
Yes.
With some more one-line points to make it easy to read. Like, the site was closed in 2000. We leased it.
Right.
The lease finished in 2018. It was determined that a safety issue, and this is where we come back to the beginning conversation we had, was
Right.
a liability concern with the gas pipeline that was deemed to not put a school on the property. Something like that.
Yeah.
And then we were charged to determine if it was worth leasing, lease to own, or sell the property.
We could even be more explicit, Jeff, on the first reason, because look, it's 2021. It's 21 years later. There's been aside from SDI, there was no use for this property in the district for so many years. So it'd be interesting to know even if perhaps the lease with the Stafford School was renewed at some point. These are all decision points where the district could have taken it back, or could have done something. And
We did take it back.
Well, no, I do know that, but that was also not for something that would benefit that community directly. I don't know if SDI is a district-wide program, but it's
Yes.
not quite the same. So it's not the same as opening, you know, an elementary school for the benefit of the people who live next door. The SDI program, I think, is something different.
No, it's a district, yeah, it's a district language program that would have been housed, but it been consolidated into one site.
Did that go away? Where did, oh, there it is. Yeah, I see it. Okay. Okay, so what about reason 3? I think that this brings in the financial question of this consideration. We have this opportunity to sell this land and be able to use the funds in a general fund way. And the current outlook for the district appears to be in need of that kind of help. We may or may not want to say that, but I think anyone who's concerned about the budget will read into that in reason 3.
It's hard for me to read the
Right.
type on the screen, but in my comments, I had made the point that we might want to say that selling this property would give the district revenue that could be used for improving other sites.
And not necessarily just, you know, what is it, Fund 25 or Fund 40? I forget which one is the capital
The
fund.
developer fee,
No, I think when you sell a site, it goes-
40, it's Fund 40, sale of site.
yeah, sale of site. And so because this can go into the general fund, it could help fill in the gaps for the deficits that we're facing. You know, and currently we've recently got a letter certifying our budget, but indicating that we're at risk of a certain designation. I forget now what it's called, but potentially
Stay and desist.
stay in something.
Yeah, where they assign an administrator to FUSD to oversee
The
the
budget,
fiscal side.
right? And not only that, but that they have the authority to rescind board decisions if they feel that's necessary.
Correct. So I have a question. Maybe it's for Kelly, maybe it's for Karina, I'm not sure. We're designating that this should become surplus, correct? I mean, that's basically what we're doing.
Mhm.
And so the reasons, or if we end up putting it in bullets or however we do it, Karina, what you see there is that what we need to tell the board?
You're talking about where it says reason 1, reason 2?
Yeah, I mean, and the piece about the financial, that we can use it to offset whatever our deficits are, is that normally done?
You can provide them as much guidance and
Okay.
you know, information as you'd like, but I think the key is, you know, first letting them know that you're seeking this to be surplus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I know that in other templates, they, with the community input, sometimes they would even specify, because normally it would go into a facility fund. And sometimes the community might say, well, we need to have improved water fountains or playgrounds or something. And then you could put that in your recommendation and saying that the funds from the sale of site should go towards these improvements.
Yeah.
But in this case, we have an opportunity to use the money in a way that's not necessarily facility related.
Mhm.
it's a timing advantage. Sorry to jump in there. Jeff has his hand up, but I think it's really more of a timing than a site specific thing. I think
Right.
it's a good time. You know?
Yeah.
My understanding is that the sale of this property, the money would be able to go into the general fund, but it would be on only a one-time
Right.
cash influx. That was my understanding.
Yeah.
I'm looking back at the considerations from the Dutra report that we got on November 17th. And there were basically 4 considerations. Are we making a recommendation of which one of those 4 we're going with?
Let me bring it up.
Because it says quick sale, long-term sale, or lease to own. And I know we talked about that we would recommend selling the property,
Right.
you know, for the fact that we don't want to be landlords.
Right.
So are we making, at the end of the day, when we look at all this stuff and the report that we got, are we making then a recommendation that the district move forward with either a quick sale or a long-term sale and leaving it at that?
I'm good with that.
I don't know if we need to necessarily specify quick sale or longer term sale.
Just that we're surplusing it and the recommendation is to sell it
Mhm,
or put it up for sale, I guess.
mhm.
And then there's all those entities that get to weigh into whether or not they're interested. But then
Right.
that's up to the board.
Right. Yeah, we
That's
don't
not
need to
ours.
we don't need to
We
get
don't-
caught in all that
No.
stuff.
We're not involved in that part of it.
We're basically looking at the directions that the district gave us.
Right.
We've got this history here. I think it could probably pare down a little bit more.
Yeah.
And based on all the information that we were given, the community forum, the Dutra report from the board, this is
Bless
the
you.
conclusion that we came up with.
Right, yeah. And once we get all of the stakeholder feedback bulleted in there, then it's, the board can read it all and know exactly
Mhm.
what the community has said. Maybe that'll help them with their decision.
Mhm.
Okay.
So
Let's see. So are you guys gonna pare these down to single line sentences and then maybe expand further in an exhibit or something? Or I know for exhibit A, we're gonna attach the land use analysis that the Dutra Associates did for us.
Yeah, great.
Um,
That's good.
But
And I think we can do the community forum as an appendix as well.
mhm.
Okay.
Comments and questions. I don't think it needs to be in the body of this. The cleaner we can make this report, the better.
Yes. Yes,
Agreed.
You know, I
Yeah,
think
I
I
agree.
did make some changes even like on the dates
Yeah.
when we met. I don't think it matters how many people showed up to the forum, right? We held our public forums on these 3 dates during this time. and
okay,
Leave it at that.
okay,
I just think the cleaner, because if I'm a board member and I'm having to read this, I want to read it quickly. I
right,
want to scan through it, give me the highlights, and let me
Right.
make a decision based on the work that you guys did.
right.
Mm.
Well, and I there's also in the folders the letter from Superintendent Wallace. That would be applicable to reason 2, and I don't know how it will follow along in the exhibit numbering, but that would be one exhibit. And then there's the land use analysis would be another exhibit. We could, include some of the site information, like the pictures and whatnot. I mean, that could be another exhibit at the very beginning of the document.
pictures,
Yeah, in the folder, I believe we have Marshall site info.
Oh.
Let's see. Where is it? Here it is.
Hey Sharon, can I ask a quick question while she's looking that up?
Sure.
Is the due date for this presentation to the board, is it February the 12th? That Friday, or is it earlier?
Let me put a calendar of February in my mind right now. I
Okay.
believe that Thursday is the 4th, the 5th is Fridays, the 8th is a Monday. I think I have to have everything in by the 8th or the 9th. I
Or
can
the
still,
24th?
yeah, I can
Okay.
still tweak it, but I have to have it input. So once we have this last community meeting, it will be a matter of doing that appendix of the community forums and the questions, or comments, or whatever the case may be, including that, and then putting a table of contents together based on how the pages line up. And like I said, I can still play with it if there's something that staff wants changed, and that's anybody above me all the way up to the superintendent. The other thing I wanted to ask, and I'm not sure, Kelly, when you have a moment, are we doing a PowerPoint to distill this down for the board and for the community to present at that board meeting? You're on mute.
Sorry about that. We
That's okay.
probably will, because Marcus and I were talking about this earlier today, so he's gonna get back to me tomorrow
Okay.
to verify, because his concern is that, you know, the detail of the report, we don't want to be in the board meeting necessarily doing it.
No,
So we
uh-uh.
want to have maybe some visuals that we can just sort of speak to, and
Right.
then basically do, because it's a presentation / report, so we can provide that, and maybe just 2 or 3 slides, not even like a long
Right.
drawn out thing.
Right. They'll have the report
Mhm,
to read prior to,
mhm,
and then the presentation is, this is it.
mhm,
This is
Mhm.
our recommendation, and the rest is up to them.
So
mhm.
the reason why I brought up that date, trying to process it, and Kelly, if I'm presenting with you on the 24th, I'm happy to help get the slides together, but it sounds like we have to have that done next week, even before we have our community forum.
No, I can add a note that a PowerPoint will
Okay.
be added, okay?
Yeah, we have a
I can,
room.
yeah, I have some wiggle room to do that, but we have to also keep in mind that all of these PowerPoints have to run through a lot of people right now,
Right.
all the way up the chain. We have a new direction in terms of our PowerPoints.
So let me ask you this then, on this report, we were looking at meeting again, our next time is the 11th to refine it and finalize it. Is that
Uh-huh.
going to be too late, or are you going to still be able to submit
Mm.
changes in that report?
I think if we can really be honed in on last minute changes, and we're not redoing a lot, then I think the 11th is fine, because then I can have it in there on Friday, the 12th,
Okay.
if that works.
And can I ask one quick question about this, the statement about it being ethical for future use? If we want to have that in there, is there a chance we might be able to change the wording and write that it may not be ethical instead of that it would not be ethical? Would that be?
We have that in there?
I mean, I'm not so fond of that sentence to begin with, but
No,
since it's
I'm not either.
Since that not going away, I'm not going to object.
Yeah, no.
I would say take it away, just because I think risk is risk, and it doesn't
Right.
have to implicate anything else.
Right. I
We
agree.
did, that's one of the few things we actually had a vote on, however, in the committee, I will point out. There was actually a vote. Very few votes on this committee, but there was a vote.
To add that sentence, Kathy?
There was a vote on that date, that was, we actually took a vote, a show of hands. I don't think you were at the meeting, Liz.
Oh.
Which is why I put it in there, because it was a vote that happened in the committee that we said it would not be ethical to sell it if it was going to be used for educational purposes.
Oh, okay. If that's the rest of the
But
sentence, yes.
I'm just bringing that up. You can take it out if you want to, but we did have a vote, one of the few that we've had.
Okay.
This was a December meeting
Yeah.
where we said if we can't use it for a school, basically, if we can't use it for a school site, then we need to get rid of the property.
Right, and we would not recommend it being used by anybody else in that way.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, that's
Right.
fine.
So ethical can be taken out, but
Yeah, or maybe there's another word,
Appropriate.
appropriate?
Mhm.
Okay. It's not as harsh.
Can we say may instead of would, or is that too soft?
I don't know. I don't know.
Should not. It's our recommendation, right?
Right.
Kelly, I was going to try to insert the PDFs of the Marshall site and the other documents,
Mhm,
add exhibits to this document,
mhm.
but it appears I'm not able to do that. Can I request that you do that? Maybe, after this meeting, you can.
So, do you not have permission to?
No, I do. However, I just don't think there's a function in Google Docs for,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I can do that.
Okay, so I'm thinking for Exhibit A, it would be the, from that folder where we have the overhead photo of the school, as well as the architectural drawings.
Mhm.
That would be Exhibit A. And then Exhibit B, I think isn't that what you wanted, Jeff, to put in the details of our meetings and all that?
The Q and A.
I'm sorry, repeat.
Well, you wanted to take out some of the bulk of the document and put it in an exhibit as it regarded the meetings.
Right, so we would have an appendix and it would just be, these are the comments and questions that came from the community forums.
Right,
Right.
so that would be Exhibit B.
Right,
And then I think the next exhibit that comes up is with the reasons, starting with the letter from Superintendent Wallace. And then I think the reason 4 would be the last exhibit, which is the land use assessment.
This was May 2019. Okay, all right. So I can go ahead and add those documents to this. Is there anything else? I apologize, you guys, we've gone over a few minutes, but is there additional comments that you all wanted to insert at this time on any of this?
Kelly,
Yes.
sorry. I don't know who's in the document now, but I know we reference Senate Bill 820. I think it's actually Senate Bill 98, and then it was clarified by 820. So I think if we insert both, it'll cover the entirety of the flexibility measures.
You want that in the body of the document? You want it as an attachment?
I just
No,
got,
no, I think there's a reference to the, placing it into the general fund, and you reference Senate Bill 820,
mhm.
but it's actually Senate Bill 98.
And 820 was kind of a change too.
It was kind of like supplementing it, so we can,
Reference,
exactly.
So where is that?
it's reason 3.
Okay, and you said it's like what? Senate Bill?
98.
20, which actually, is there legalese language that I would put here as it regards the fact that it's an SB 98 parenthetical?
No, I think you can just mention both 98 and 822, which kind of, you know, packaged everything together with respect to this process.
Mm-hmm. Right. I currently have it SB 820, that is in parentheses, SB 98 adds Education Code section 17463.7. That way they know to reference 98 looking for that section, correct? I'm just thinking that hopefully that clarifies anyone who
Mhm.
wanted to look into it.
Makes sense.
Hey, Kelly, I have a question for you. I'm just trying to find dates, and we met on November 10th, or excuse me, November 19th, and I have the minutes for that, but I believe that the December 10th meeting was the one that we made a motion and voted to recommend selling the property. And I'm not finding minutes for that meeting in our folder.
I have the minutes. I just looked them up because I do not recall the vote that Kathy mentioned. The one about specifically about the ethical use. I have an email from Kelly from January 13 at 10:38 p.m. Kelly's always working late. Does I think one meeting a day, and all kinds of things. But there is an attachment that says minutes from December 11, and then it says final KLM, which I think stands for Kelly.
Yeah.
And I looked at that, and anyway, that's the one I'm looking at, but I cannot find anything about ethical or educational use in it while skimming it.
I remember making a motion to sell the property based on the fact that it would be the best alternative for the community. Sort of a general statement incorporating all of our reasons, you know, and basically what our purpose is to provide that kind of input.
I think the meeting when we looked at the Dutra documents is when we had the discussion. Let me find.
That would have been November 19th. And I see some comments in the minutes here, but I don't see anything with there's a vote for us to prepare a draft to recommend the Marshall property being sold, but I don't see any other notes, and I don't see the minutes for the 10th meeting in the folder.
That would explain it though, Jeff, because I wasn't at that meeting. So that's why I don't remember. And so the rest of you are right. And please accept my apologies.
All right, which minutes are you looking for?
The December 10th.
All right, they're listed on the website. They're on the website.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm looking in our share folder.
Yeah,
So-
no, they're on all of the
So
minutes
if-
are on the website.
If you guys look at the November 19th minutes, and if you look at item number 4, draft recommendation, I was very careful in how I worded our discussion as to not allow people to see that we had already made the decision
Right.
before we actually had the community forums. So if you look at the comments, we're not saying that we've made the decision or a vote was taken, but comments were made leaning in that direction based on the information. So if you look at item 4, it says, Kelly asked the committee if they were ready to put down recommendations to evaluate and deal at the next meeting. Should the committee pursue lease out or go ahead and sell the property was the question raised. Based on current board restrictions of the school site, the committee is leaning towards the sale and getting the best price. Liz commented on the sale would be beneficial to the community. Sharon, Kathy, and Jeff commented they were leaning on selling instead of leasing. Sharice recommended if we were leaning towards sale, better to present one recommendation. Looking into leasing would be just a footnote. Noli also was inclined to sell from all considerations and discussion. Once board decision is made, we will begin preparing site for the option chosen. So that's why you guys don't see
I see.
that language in there.
Well,
Kelly.
that was our discussion. Yeah.
Kelly,
Uh-huh.
the December, I think I'm in the December minutes. There is underneath draft recommendation from the committee. You reminded the committee that it's their responsibility for the creation of the report and can utilize district staff to support them, but the report cannot be prepared by the facilities department. Once a board decision is made, DWK and business department will begin preparing site for the option chosen. And then there's a sentence that says a motion was made to go ahead to begin preparing draft recommendations for the Marshall property to be sold. Motion approved unanimously by the committee members, but I don't, are we including all of these minutes and everything?
Some reports do, but
I don't know. I mean, they've been on the website forever,
right.
so I'm not sure. I don't know.
Right. Well, and I
Because-
think at any time, if there was a great reversal of fortune, in terms of community input, we could certainly reconsider. It's not over until it's over, right?
No, that's true. That's true. And we can, if we decide that we're meeting on February 11th, to give it one more
Chance.
go over and agree that we're all on the same page with it, there could be from those minutes, the report will be prepared with the recommendation by unanimous vote or whatever, to recommend to the board to surplus and sell the property,
Right.
if that works for everybody. But I mean, we'll wait and see on the 4th and see what we get.
Yeah.
Who knows? We could be there for hours.
Oh, please don't say that.
I know, I'm teasing.
Please don't say that.
Stranger things have happened.
I'm just telling everybody I'm taking a few days off after all these community meetings are over. Because
My
I've been
goodness.
going every night since the beginning of the year. And I am starting to just get a little frayed at the end. So just forewarning you guys, I'll be gone for a couple days.
Kelly, they talk about President Biden's first 100 days. You've only been with the district for less than a year, haven't you?
Uh-huh.
Correct.
How many meetings? You've done like 200 community meetings or 200? I mean, you're like every day you're on somewhere.
That's just too much now. I'm Zoom fatigued out. So I'm just letting you guys know.
Well, I will give you warning, Kelly. This is probably the mildest of the 3 properties that you have to discuss.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sure. See, I have
The
to-
horse property and Patterson Ranch will get a lot more community engagement.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
right.
If they give us direction to go there.
Maybe we'll have some of those millionaires that just made all that money on GameStop stock to come forward and say like,
Oh
hey,
my
school
gosh.
district, here's a
Yeah.
couple million dollars to put in the pot towards developing something fantastic. So we'll see.
Wouldn't that be nice?
So to wrap this up, so we will continue to work on this document. If there's anything else that you guys think of, and of course, just you guys all have access, throw it in there and we can muddle through it together. I will redo the presentation for the 4th and provide that for you all for comment. I have to put it on the FUSD template, and I know Karina's tweaked a couple things, but we'll have that ready. You guys will be able to review it. And I think that's it. And I believe we will be together again on February 11th,
Correct.
post meeting.
Yep.
So until that time, my dear community members and colleagues, have a fabulous afternoon and the rest of the week.
Thank
Are
you, you
we,
too.
are we all planning to come to the one on the 4th?
I would love it if you guys did.
Yeah,
That'd
I'd
be
love
awesome.
it. We'll see.
And
Send
that's
us the
at
invite.
That's at 7:30.
7:30, correct.
Yes.
Send us the invite, we'll be there.
You'll send us the code.
Absolutely.
Think
All right.
you already have it? No?
I'll
Um,
send that in. I'll send